Have reports of New England Patriots quarterback Bailey Zappe's demise been greatly exaggerated? Stick around. You're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage, and hopefully your first listen each and every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is not only a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but we are also free and available on all platforms, so smash that subscribe button, especially on YouTube, and download and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you're getting the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for the Patriots Country, so reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing love to Locked On Patriots, social media style that is, please follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And Pats fans, it may be a little later in the week, but there is no way we were neglecting the Locked On Patriots mailbag. And of course, if it's mailbag day, we're going to change Mailbag Monday into Telegraph Tuesday. That's right, my good friend, the legend himself, Thomas Murphy, comes to us today, ready to wade through another amazing mailbag. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, and thank you for joining me on this Telegraph Thursday, Don Murph.
No, it's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here. The Pony Express has arrived. we've got some good questions from you guys out there. There's some fantastic emailed in questions lately. It's just blowing us away. And keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm sorry that we took the holiday off, and here we are. We're back on Thursday to dive into it and just like answer some fantastic questions. Let's get to the first one, Mike.
Absolutely, folks. We're going to waste no time and dive right into the mailbag. And Murph, the New England Patriots opening OTAs to the media for the second time this offseason on Wednesday. Got a chance to see a lot of the Patriots in action. Quarterbacks definitely taking the center stage. Jacoby Brissett still looks like quarterback number one. He was taking a lot of the first team reps. Drake May showing signs of improvement, showing signs of impressive play. Had a very nice no-look pass yesterday at one point. But if we're being honest, Jacoby's still looking like the quarterback one. But a lot of people are wondering who's going to be the odd man out. Gerard Mayo said last week that the Patriots were hoping to carry 3 quarterbacks during training camp, which means that one man on this quarterback quartet is about to be out of a job. If that is the case, a lot of people are assuming that it might be the longest tenured quarterback on this staff right now. And Murph, that is the first question of the day, diving into the mailbag, and a very poignant one because he spoke to the media yesterday, and that is one Bailey Zappe. Our good friend Rick in West Hartford, Connecticut, down near your neck of the woods, Murph, wants to know, does Bailey Zappe have a chance to make this roster? Murph, I wrote about this subject a little bit yesterday for Patriots Country, so I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm going to give you the floor on this one first. Are we looking at Zappe days here again, or is it going to be Zappe trails in another couple of weeks?
You did not go there. Look, and I think there's a chance that Bailey Zappe is cut. Okay, I think there's a chance Bailey Zappe is cut. I don't think that right now, if push comes to shove, that Bailey Zappe is going to end up being on the happy trails. Nobody's going to be saying, "Come back, Shane, come back." He's he's a competent backup. We've said it before. I understand this is a new offense for him, but we know that he can handle NFL pressure. Not well, not great. He's a decent backup quarterback. And right now, I don't think they want to thrust Drake May into the starting lineup if, God forbid, something happens and they need to go to number 2.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point without question. And look, Bailey Zappe has proven he can do it. Last season, didn't fare statistically much better than Mac Jones. We have to
No.
be, very honest about that. 63% of his passes completed, 1,272 yards, 6 touchdowns to 9
Yep.
interceptions. And Murph, you hit the nail right on the head on this. Bailey Zappe's troubles definitely started to bubble up when he started to feel excess pressure.
Right.
That is definitely something that is not only going to be a concern, but probably even going to be more of a concern this year when you consider the upheaval and the uncertainty the Patriots have along that offensive
Oh my
line.
God.
No, they're going to want a savvy veteran in the room like Jacoby Brissett. Drake May is the number 3 overall pick. He's not going anywhere, folks.
Nope.
His installation as the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, pretty much a foregone conclusion. It's not a question of if, it's just when.
Right.
So that leaves both Bailey Zappe
Eight.
and Joe Milton. And when you look at Milton and his dual threat capabilities, his arm, and not only his arm, Murph, but his ability to extend plays with his
Yep.
legs and
I
utilize
get it.
his legs to make plays, it kind of leaves Zappe the odd man out on the cutting room floor. But you also have to take under account the fact that this kid did play with a lot of poise as a rookie. As a matter of fact, a lot of people were wondering whether or not the Patriots made the right decision by giving the ball back to Mac Jones when he
Right.
came back from the high ankle sprain.
Not
This
me,
kid
but
the argument was out there. Look, he nearly led them to victory over the Packers. In the 2 games
Yep.
that he did start, a 2-0 record, finished the season 65 of 92, 781 yards, 5 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. And that is coming in a situation that he probably didn't expect to play those kind of minutes just yet. So my next question to you, my friend, is that the deciding factor? Is it more the Patriots quarterback room as a whole, or is this really more of an indictment on Zappe's fit in Alex Van Pelt's offense?
It's more of an indictment on Zappe's fit in Van Pelt's offense and how that's going to shake out and what's happening. Also, you know, what they're going to see from Joe Milton, and I don't think they're going to
Mhm.
see anything that we haven't seen on tape to this point. A fantastic arm, somebody that can definitely move the chains with his legs, but can he grasp this offense, a pro style offense? It's the same issue with Drake May. Drake May has never been in this situation before. That's why they're taking it this slow with the number 3 overall pick in the NFL draft and not
Mhm.
just throwing him out there. Um, Also comes into consideration the mess that this offensive line is. Okay, I wish we were
Mhm.
doing an entire show on this offensive line right now because I'm not happy, people. I'm not happy. All right, guys are getting pulled here and there and moved over and around, and for God's sakes, at one time I thought I saw the punter there at left guard. It's crazy, but I really think at the end of the day, Zappe is going to end up making this squad. There's a chance that he gets released. There's no chance that he gets traded because nobody wanted him when they released him last year. But still, he's a decent backup. And if something happens in the first 2-3 weeks of this season, God forbid, I don't want Drake May in there, and I don't think Gerard Mayo does either.
Yeah, and especially early on when you start to see some of the growing pains that he's still having, and
Yeah.
we
You
talked
can
about
get
this
Milton
last week.
to the practice squad. He'll
Yeah,
go. Nobody is going to pounce on Joe Milton. He's going to be on the practice squad. It's one of the reasons that you're not going to see a lot of him in these open OTAs and during training camp is because they're going to want to stash him there.
yeah, he wasn't at practice on Wednesday, and I think that's a good point because that is naturally the question that's going to follow is, well, if they keep Zappe on the roster, Jacoby Brissett's not going anywhere. We've already established that Drake May's not going anywhere.
Yep.
It does mean that Milton would be the odd man out. So
Yeah.
that's counting on Milton being able to slide to the practice squad. So, yeah, I think to answer your question, Rick, Murph says that there is most likely an opportunity for Bailey to make this roster. There is a chance
Yep.
he gets cut. I think right now it's 60-40 arguing against Bailey making this roster. We'll see what happens. And that's the beauty of this. In the next couple of weeks, we'll see who was right and who
Right.
was wrong. But
Great question.
what a way to kick off
Thursday.
Telegraph Thursday, Murph. And we are not done yet because we're going to flip the script and we're going to go over to the defensive side of the ball for a change. Gerard Mayo said yesterday that one defensive player above all else had impressed him, not just with his play on the field, but with his growth as a leader. And yeah, folks, it's a second-year player. That's a hell of a compliment coming from a first-year head coach, saying that he's seeing leadership ability in a player that's still very young and learning the game himself. We're going to talk about that player and what he means to the Patriots defense when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen up, Boston sports fans. You want to cheer on your favorite green team at the Garden. We all do. You want tickets, but you're not quite sure how to go about getting them. Well, have no fear. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. I'm thinking of going, and it's a lock that I'll be using Game Time to get there, because with their priority last-minute deals, you can save 60% off buying last minute for sports. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. It is Telegraph Thursday. It's Mailbag Day here on Locked On Patriots. And this mailbag was so overstuffed with amazing information and insight. Who else would we invite to come and help us sort through it all and lend his wisdom and counsel the way only he can than the legend himself, my good friend Thomas Murphy. And Murph, the previous segment, we talked about the offensive side of the ball. Everybody wondering about Bailey Zappe and Jacoby Brissett and Drake May and who's going to make the roster, when they're going to make it. All those details working themselves out in due time. But I don't necessarily know if the defense is getting enough credit here, my friend. I think that a lot of people are looking at the defense and saying, well, they were a good unit last year. It ain't broke. Don't fix it. No big waves. Keep doing what you're doing. But as you know, we all know that in order for top-level units to maintain their success, they have to do it at a high level, and they have to continue to do it each and every year. And you need growth from players on this roster taking that next step from good to great. Well, yesterday when we spoke with Jerod Mayo, he was asked about which players are making that step, maybe becoming a little bit more of a leader on the field, by example, vocally, players that are impressing him with the steps they've taken to improve their game. And the name that came out of his mouth is Keion White. And Mayo's exact quote on Keion was, he's doing a great job for us. He's taken that step forward as far as being a leader, not necessarily vocally, but if you see him actually leading the groups and working well, if you need a name, that's a good one for me to say. Very gallant compliment coming from Jerod Mayo when it comes to Keion White. Again, you see things us mere mortals don't see, and you love this pick from the moment the Patriots made it. Are you surprised to hear Jerod Mayo mention Keion White as one of the emerging leaders of this team? And what is it about him that really makes people want to follow what he does by example?
No, not at all. It doesn't surprise me at all. Keion was a captain in college. I think a 2-year captain. And when he came out, part of the reason that we liked him was his leadership skills. He leads by example. He's not somebody that's very vocal, and I think Mayo said that when he was talking about him yesterday, if I remember correctly. But he's somebody that goes out there and lets his play speak for himself, and then low key is one of those guys that says, "You're going to have to keep up with me, okay? This is it. We are the deciding factor right now on this Patriots team as to how successful it's going to be. It's not those guys over there on offense. Number 4 pick is not going to see the field and be carrying us to victories. This is where it's going to happen, and I can definitely see that jump that Mayo is talking about, and specifically because what I liked hearing yesterday was Mayo talking about his diversity and being able to play different positions. Now he's going to have to do that. He's
Mhm.
playing behind Dietrich Wise. Okay, Dietrich
Right.
Wise just signed a new contract. It's a little difficult to get both of these guys on the field at the same time. They're basically carbon copies of each other, and in size, weight, and speed. So he's going to have to be more diverse than he was in the past. He's going to have to move around that line quite a bit, and he's a talent that can do that. And it's something that I pointed out when he was drafted and why I loved the draft pick. Now, we didn't see a lot of him last year, partially because he's sitting behind Dietrich Wise, who just signed, his new deal, and he's going to have to be more diverse. And one of the other reason that we didn't see a lot of him last year, and you're going to end up seeing a huge jump in his production this season, is the fact that he was a rookie. And under Bill Belichick, the rookies get rolled in slowly. They're at the end of the rotation. I think
Mhm.
that's one of the positive changes that Mayo is going to implement. We could talk about the changes I don't like later on in a different show if you folks like you. But right now, I think that's a good one. Okay, that he is going to end up seeing more playing time. He is a playmaker. He's going to go out there, and we're going to hear him hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you make some great points on that. And I think you've also helped to answer the question that our good friend and longtime everydayer, Hannah, will he be an everyday starter in 2024? That's definitely something that I think a lot of people are wondering. And Murph, you made a
Hmm.
very good point about this kid sitting behind Dietrich Wise Jr. That's a team captain. You don't
Right,
unseat a team captain. This kid right now is going to need to show it. But the good news is he's got the skill set to be able to
right,
show it. 6'4", 287 pounds. You're not going to have a problem with size. This kid can match up with anybody. But you look at the different assignments that the Patriots gave him last year, Murph, and that makes me believe this kid is set to break out and maybe make
yep,
a real name for himself this season. Outside linebacker. We saw him set in a three-point stance a few times.
yep,
He rushed the passer. He played the run. Even dropped into coverage at times, which
yeah,
you and I both said on draft night he was going to do. And
yep.
we were laughed off of these airwaves for
I know.
saying that. And then he did it. He went out there and he did it. Statistically, didn't exactly set the world ablaze. 26 tackles, 3 pass breakups, 1 sack. But this kid has all the tools to
It
project as a
was.
5 tech. I think that's where you're going to see him really make his bones this year, to
I
quote a
agree.
Godfather term. Great physical size, great athleticism, but I think he can move all over the defensive front, and Murph touched on this
Right.
very nicely as well. He's still a little developmental when it comes to being a pass rusher. I still think he's going to need a little seasoning, maybe a healthy Matthew Judon this year.
Right.
That could help him out a little bit, and he can act as a little bit of a mentor, but you're going to see him immediately contribute against the run. That's where this guy is most comfortable. But if he's placed on the edges, he has the opportunity to do both this year. So, as far as an everyday starter, I don't know if it's going to happen right off the bat, but I can
Right.
see
He could definitely
mid-season
work his
this
way
kid
into it.
taking it.
Yep, I
Absolutely.
agree. He could work his way into it. It depends on so many things, on injuries, on his play himself, his grasp of the playbook and responsibilities that he's going to hold. But I think that he has all the ability and all the tools to
Mhm.
absolutely make that self happen. It's just a hard road to climb with the people that are in front of him.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know you're all really hoping for this and expecting this, especially with Keion being drafted so high. I think he went 46 in
Mhm.
the draft. So yeah, it's something that we'd all like to see, but at the cost of what? So, it's still going to be a very situational game plan from week to week on the defensive side of the ball. So you could see him out there running with the starters on one week and not the next.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Dietrich is still one of the best pass
Right.
rushers on this team when he's healthy and locked in. He's also one of the most vocal and one of the most lead by example players on this roster. And you can almost see the budding elements of Keion White trying to emulate that. Gerard Mayo talked about this on Tuesday when we spoke with him. He says he's talking, he's leading those conversations, in the meeting rooms when it comes to conversations on the field. These are things that you love to see in players, especially second-year players that are willing to take that jump. We all know from his draft night reaction, Keion White is not a talker. He's not a verbal rah-rah guy. He leads by example. But if he's going to go up and start verbally leading this team as well as physically leading this team, you know you got yourself a keeper. So I think the Patriots have a good one in Keion White. And yeah, everyday starter definitely has his name written all over it, Hannah, but I think it's more likely mid-season, this season at best, and then we'll see moving forward into the subsequent seasons, 2025 and beyond. But this was an excellent question. We don't get a chance to talk as much Keion White on here, Murph, as we'd like to, but you've given us the opportunity to do that today. So, Hannah, thank you, and a tip of the cap to another great question.
And before anybody jumps on me in the comments, yes, I know this is Wise's last year of his contract. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could work out in his favor, but Dietrich's going to be out there, and that's a scary situation for offensive players, especially those quarterbacks.
Absolutely. I always have an affinity for Dietrich Wise. He was
Right.
the first player I interviewed one-on-one when I first joined the Patriots beat back in 2017. And it's been a great ride, since then. And he is someone that I know takes his craft very seriously and one of the more underrated players on this roster. And I think in the NFL as well, and someone that I think is poised for a very big year because it is his final year in his contract. Does it work in the favor of Keion White moving forward, folks? We will see. But, Murph, the best part of Mailbag Monday / Telegraph Thursday is always that we're not done yet. We've still got one more in the bag that is, I think, one of the questions of the week. And that is, Murph, whether or not one of the veteran receivers could be on his way out. Which one are the Patriots better off retaining? Are they better off retaining the speedster or the yak machine? Murph is going to answer that question, and I'm going to toss in my 2 cents on the matter as well when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen up, Boston sports fans. It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Your favorite green team NBA playoff action. Do you have enough confidence in your fandom to make it work for you? Well, if you're going to do so, do it with FanDuel, because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. And before we continue into Telegraph Thursday, I have one question for you. When you're trying to get your daily sports fix on television, are you tired of having to turn down the volume with all that shouting going on? Yeah, I know. I am too. We all are. And if you are, it's time to make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all of that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Of course, Locked On Sports Today is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, as we are right here on Locked On Patriots. And because it is Telegraph Thursday and we're opening up the mailbag, our good friend Thomas Murphy has graciously agreed to join us on his off day, folks, but it's not an off day for him. He's always on 24/7, 365. And Murph, we've already had a couple of amazing questions when it comes to the Patriots offense and defense, but we're going to dip back into the offense. It's the story of the week, and I think it's important to do so. And one of the big questions on everyone's mind is the receivers core, Murph. Do the Patriots have enough to support Drake May? Do they have enough weapons with a Z, which is a lot of what is going around on social media? And people are overtly wondering whether or not the Pats did enough via the draft to really provide the type of receiver core that the Patriots are going to need to compete someday. Well, I think a lot of people are excited about what the youngsters are going to bring to the table, specifically Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. But the Patriots do have some veterans on this roster, and there are a lot of names. You know they're not going to carry every member of this receivers core the way it's constituted today. And two of the names that a lot of people talk about on the trading block or the chopping block are third-year receiver Tyquan Thornton or last year's free agent big signee JuJu Smith-Schuster.
Right.
Well, our good friend Brady to Gronk, who's been a long time everydayer since inception here from Locked On Patriots, going back to well before I hosted this show, wants to know, and he's also from Westerly, Rhode Island, Murph, so you got to love that. But he wants to know who is more likely to be cut or traded this offseason. Is it Tyquan Thornton or is it JuJu Smith-Schuster? Murph, I'm going to give this one to you.
What didn't the Patriots draft this year at wide receiver? An X. Okay, they're going to give Thornton every opportunity, and right now, once again, in shorts, looking fantastic. You know, I really think that he's. They're going to give him every opportunity to make this team. I don't think they're going to end up cutting JuJu. Hopefully, he continues to look as good and talk up, you know, his well rested knee, and they're able to move him, because I believe, you know, the future lies in what happened in this year's draft. Okay, they're you know, Jalen Polk is going to be there, and you know Javon Baker is going to be there. I see them both as inside guys, so the odd man out is probably going to be JuJu if Tyquan can, you know, keep his clavicle intact. Okay, we'll have to see what's going to happen once pads come on and people actually start hitting. But right now, there's no urgency to move anybody or release anybody before camp opens, or probably even later into when camp is closing. I think this decision is going to be one of the last decisions that is made for this roster. This is the bubble right here. We're looking at it. Who's on and who's off. I am still a huge Slim Reaper fan, simply because of what he brings to the table, and why I didn't love but like this draft pick, because he fits a different skill set than everybody else on this team. He's not the high point guy. He's not the go down and battle for the catch guy. He's the guy that stretches the field. He can do it both vertically and horizontally. We saw it this week in OTAs. Yesterday, a perfect pass from May to him down the sidelines. He threw another one to him that he was running a post pattern, and he hit him in stride. It's really a beautiful thing to watch when this kid is healthy, and I just want to see more of it. I've seen enough of JuJu, and I think there are guys on this team that are capable of starting in that position who aren't named JuJu Smith-Schuster.
I think that's a great point, Murph. And when you look at guys that they drafted, like Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, they're capable of giving you yards after the catch.
Right.
I also want to see if KJ Osborne is able to round into that
There you
role as
go.
well. We haven't necessarily seen enough of him do that. And I made the point a couple of weeks ago here on Locked On Patriots that playing behind Justin Jefferson doesn't exactly give you the chance to showcase your talents. But from everything that I've heard, talking to scouts, people that are close to the Minnesota Vikings, talking to Luke Braun, our host of Locked On Vikings right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, had glowing things to say about this kid and his adaptability and the way that he's able to play the game, almost like a chameleon, where he can turn himself into the type of receiver you need him to be. And let's not forget that when Kendrick Bourne is healthy and back on the field, he is a guy that can give you yards after the catch as well. So I think in this situation, you're absolutely right. I definitely see Tyquan Thornton taking on a bigger role. And I think when you see that he's working with Brendan Schooler and he's doing a little work as a gunner, which we saw on Wednesday on the field in practice at Gillette, it gives me a little bit more pause to say that the Patriots are more likely to give up on Thornton, because as Murph said, folks, there's a lot of talent here to bite onto. There is not any shortage of speed. No one is ever going to question this kid's ability to blaze down the field. We've seen him do it several times. When he's healthy, he's as fast as anyone in this league.
And it's not like he drops passes either. I mean,
no, he doesn't.
We haven't seen a ton thrown at him because he's been injured. And I've been one, I will continue to stand on my soapbox. It's not ticky-tack injuries that this kid has. He's actually
Right.
broken bones. All right.
Exactly.
And it's so we'll just see if the workout that he did during the winter to put on a little more will keep him healthy once he gets hit.
Mm. Yeah, Tyquan mentioned that when we spoke with him a couple of weeks ago at Gillette Stadium, saying that he wants to keep his playing weight up to about 190. It allows you to withstand the impact of when you fall or when a player falls on you. That padding does help, believe
Yeah.
me. Murph and I have more than our share, but you're talking about a professional athlete that needs to add a little
Right.
bit of that muscle weight, and I think that's going to help him withstand some of the impact of some of the shots that he's about to take. But what is the hallmark of what Alex Van Pelt loves to run, Murph? He loves to utilize play action to open up the
Yep.
deep shots down the field. He's got the quarterback to do it. This is the receiver that can take you down the field to do it if he's healthy and clicking on all cylinders. The other thing that I love about Tyquan Thornton is this kid can be used as a jet option out of the backfield. When he
Right.
was in his rookie season, 2022, week 6 against the Cleveland Browns, his best game as a pro without any
Yep.
question. He became the first Patriots wide receiver since Deion Branch to score a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown in the same game.
Right.
This kid has the ability to do it. Don't let anyone fool you. He has got the stuff to be a significant weapon. If JuJu says his knee is feeling much better, he's playing at a high level, you're going to get teams that are calling the New England Patriots about a
Right.
potential trade, I think, because there are always teams that are out there in need of savvy veteran receivers. And this is a kid that has a very good resume. He's definitely not an also ran. I don't think the
Nope.
fit in New England is what the Patriots expected when they signed him, but this is still a productive player that can be a very good player for some teams out there that are in need of pass catching help. Just happen to think that it's not the Patriots that is the fit for him. I think they go with Tyquan and see what they can do with him this year,
And
especially at a reduced cost.
right. And there's no tiebreaker here as to you know, being a Bill guy. They were both Bill guys. Bill wanted to
Right.
draft Tyquan, and he brought in JuJu. So there's no tiebreaker
Exactly.
there. And let's move
Exactly.
away from the Bill guys.
Folks, once again, with the Patriots now moving forward into a new era, which are the players that are going to be hanging around? Thanks to Rick's and Hannah's and Brady DeGronk's great questions, we got a little insight as to whether it's going to be guys like Bailey Zappe or JuJu Smith-Schuster or Tyquan Thornton. And Murph, it's always my honor, always my privilege, and always a pleasure to have you join me here on Locked On Patriots for each and every mailbag episode. And there's no one else that the
No.
mailbag can exist
Oh,
for
come
other than
on.
you. Bud, before I let you go today, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, absorb your great work, and what you got cooking in Murph's kitchen from now until the next time you grace our airwaves here on Locked On Patriots.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at TMurph207, Zitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and keep up with whatever I'm writing or wherever I'm going to be. Got a couple other guest spots that I'm going to be doing this week.
As I always say here, folks, whenever the man puts pen to paper or voice to microphone, it's appointment listening, appointment viewing. You're entertained, but you're well informed. What more can you ask for? Murph, a tip of the cap to you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And of course, another tip of the cap to Rick, to Hannah, and to Brady DeGronk for great questions here on Telegraph
Fantastic.
Thursday. But we're not done yet, folks. There is still expert analysis to come to you before we close things up for the week here on Locked On Patriots. So be sure to download, subscribe to, and follow wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you're getting the latest episode as soon as it's available. On behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, reminding you all to stay safe and to stay well and to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.